Now, I want you to think for a minute, when you think about success, wealth, having optimal health, anything to do with having good relationships, do you want to do that either slow or fast? Well, I hope that you realize that there's some things that we should want to actually happen fast. Now, when we think about having slow cooked food that is really allowing the food to get the right, marinade and heat so that the meat falls off the bone, and you don't want something rushed, you want it cooked right. If you think about a garden that you're planting in the backyard and you want it to be done right, you want it to go through the process so it can be a nourished plant. But when you think about a lot of things that we want and that we need to have in life, we really want those things quick. We want those things fast. It matters how long it takes. I often love talking about how everyone makes $1 million, right? It's just some people made $1 million over the 50 years of their life, if you add up all the money that they've made. And some people made that $1 million in a month. So the speed at which we do things is very important. The speed of wealth, as I said, the speed of success, the speed of having optimal health. Do you want more time to live a life feeling better in your body or less time, right? So the quicker I can become more healthy, the more I get to enjoy it. The quicker I can be wealthy, the longer I get to enjoy that wealth. So if I get that wealth at the very end of my life, I don't get much time to enjoy it. So speed is very important. And this is true in life. This is true in our career. This is true in our businesses that we create as entrepreneurs. Well, today, I want to talk about how artificial intelligence is actually allowing us to increase the speed on so many levels that is very important. So when you think about certain, things and dynamics, and we think about speed, now I want you to understand that when things are faster, it actually allows you to be able to adjust to things quicker. Like now, when we were, go to my whiteboard for a minute, back in my Toyota journey, when I was doing a lot of different projects, in Toyota, becoming a lean management expert, one of the things we always begin to fight against is something called lead time. Okay. So when you think about, I'll just put this as a one-sided arrow here. So when you think about lead time, this is how much time that I need in the lead in front of me to make sure that that thing that I want, right, is going to be there when I need it on time. So I would order things sometime in Toyota, and some of my parts came from the Midwest, some came from the East Coast, some came from overseas in Japan. Now, some things may have had actually a 1 week lead time. Other things might have a 1 month lead time coming from overseas, right? And if an emergency happened, what we would do is we would have to expedite an order, right? And I'll do, so this was kind of like an emergency if you had to expedite an order, right? Because this is going to be very costly. So one of the things when you think about lead time, so we want to go from long lead times, right, to short lead times. So if lead times are shorter, it gives you an opportunity to quickly adapt. So imagine if you have someone that sent you this box of parts, and those box of parts had a defective piece in it, and you need that for the thing that you're going to be doing for the particular job that you're on. If it takes me 1 month to send for another one, then this literally is crippling to the operation because it takes so long to actually make an adjustment. Or what if there's a change, right? It's so, hard to adapt to change or something that the customer needs. So if my lead times are shorter though, there's a problem, but I can more quickly adapt to that problem because in a day or in an hour, I can make the adjustment because the lead times are short enough. And the next thing you know, I can actually begin to have more flexibility. Now, this is where we see companies like Amazon and others where their lead times have become so short where they can have something to you the next day or the day after. It creates such a level of service and such a strong desire to order because you know how quickly you can get it. And even if you change your mind, how quickly you can have it, the right thing, right, within a day or two. So speed is very powerful. Now, I want to talk about this though. Now, when we think about speed, I want to just take a minute to think about this that we all know today as artificial, make sure I'm spelling this right, artificial intelligence. So this, we know, has become a part of our world. Now, what's so amazing about artificial intelligence is that we know that oftentimes we think about that this is something that can give me answers. But what we've really discovered is artificial intelligence is forcing us to be better at questions, right? We're calling these prompts. And when you want to prompt things like ChatGPT or other services you may use, it is the right question now that has become paramount because there's so many answers that are available. But the secret is, in the spirit of jeopardy, do you know the question, right? Now, because this has become so important, we start to understand the power of knowing the right question to increase the speed to the answer. So the better my question, I get a greater speed to the answer. So if my question is off base, then it's going to take me longer to get to the answer that I'm looking for. If I don't have the right prompt, I don't know how to word that thing to help artificial intelligence help me become more intelligent. So this is a very critical part. Now, when you think about this in this sense of speed, let's really break down some things that are really critical about speed. And I want you to understand some ways that I use artificial intelligence to help me as an entrepreneur, and even some of the things I have to do in life or that I'm trying to, focus on or get done, how I can leverage this as a tool. We want to make sure that we are very clear about, making sure we use artificial intelligence and don't let artificial intelligence use us. So I want you to think about a few things here. So when we think about speed, one level is the speed of thought. So think about the speed of thought for a minute. Now, did you know we all have about 70,000 thoughts a day? Okay, 70,000 thoughts a day, and most of them are negative. So we have to fight to have more positive thoughts, right? So we often talk about the ants, the automatic negative thoughts. So thoughts are always running all throughout our life, all throughout our day. And we literally have, think about it, 70,000 thoughts in a day, right? But the key is, how can I have the right thought to help me lead to the right things that give me the right feelings so I can do the right things? So the foundation, when we think about thought is so important because thoughts can lead to feelings, which lead to actions. Now, what's so powerful about artificial intelligence is that I can actually, let's say I have this container in my mind and I've got all these random thoughts, right? But what we're able to do, leveraging artificial intelligence, is if I can ask the right question, artificial intelligence can come in and really begin to single out how I can organize, right, the right thoughts that are going to suit me the best, right? So think about the speed to the right thought or idea. So if I can ask the right question, then all these thoughts and ideas is in my mind. Here's artificial intelligence. It can let me get to the best thought about that thing. So the quicker I can get to the right thought, the right idea, because I'm asking the right question. So I often do this when I'm trying to think of, I'm already thinking about something, right? I'm thinking about how I want to approach this presentation. I'm thinking about how I'm going to create this new lead magnet to generate leads. I'm thinking about an outline for a new book, whatever it is. If I can put the right question in, it's allowing me to create more speed, right? To be able to think more organized about something, to get closer to something that is very important, which is another form of speed. The speed of understanding. So understanding, right, is to have the foundation of proof. So this is a foundation of proof about something. So if I understand, how to drive a car, I'm going to have a foundation of proof, right? That I can actually, show you and demonstrate that I understand that. Like I can explain it to you because I really understand it. I can prove to you that I understand it. So what's so beautiful is artificial intelligence is helping us to go from basic knowledge to understanding. Because again, if I ask the right question, it can give me the proof and all of the evidence needed that this is how something works. This is the approach you can use. So we're able to collapse our speed to understanding things, right? We should all be excited about the speed at which we can do some of these things now, right? So I can think further than I ever could before. I can understand faster than I ever could before. And that brings me to another source of speed, which is the speed of decision. Now, this is powerful. This is, right, knowing what to do. Let's say what to do next. There is so much time that we can waste trying to think about what decision to make. So by having something that allows you to more fastly explore what these different alternatives are and kind of recommend something that allows you to get closer to what you feel good about doing is so powerful, right? So I often use this, I'm going to make a decision to, use a specific headline for a marketing opportunity or maybe an outline for a specific webinar that I'm going to do. And I bounce it off of artificial intelligence and it's able to come back with some things that help me feel better about the decision that I'm going to make. Sometimes it can more quickly allow me to see something that is not the decision that I want to make. And sometimes it can enhance the decision that I already was going to make. But it is the speed, right, that we can get out of this. So what you want to do, you want to understand when we think about opportunities, right, like Chat GPT, and we see this little bar in here right? And we're thinking about what are we going to put inside of here? I want you to understand that this really is an engine of speed. So the question is, we have to understand, right, what do we need to accelerate? It's a critical question. So when you know what you need to accelerate, there's oftentimes we are stuck doing this, doing that, trying to figure this out, figure that out, and we've not really got serious about where are things in my life, in my career, in my business, in this project moving too slow. And I want to increase the speed at which I can get the right idea, the right thought, the right understanding, the right decision to be made. So this is, again, how we want to value artificial intelligence, in that it's allowing us to increase the speed. And ultimately, that speed is what is going to allow us to get to the end result faster. So remember this, when you're thinking, if you provide any sort of benefit to anyone as a service provider, as, a coach, a mentor, a parent, anything that you do that helps other people, we always want to realize that the quicker that someone can get to the benefit, right, it's always the greatest value, right? We want the quickest route to the benefit. So I often like talking about this, right? So here's a lot of power in a straight line. So a straight line is the shortest distance between 2 points. So what we're trying to do is we want to leverage artificial intelligence to help us create this straight line, right? So, and again, this can be from not knowing to knowing. It could be from no evidence to full proof. It could go from unsure to certain. It can go from no idea to a clear idea, right? So this is what we're doing here, is artificial intelligence can become our way of creating this straight line. So we want to understand, if you're not using artificial intelligence in a way that's helping you increase speed, you are leaving money on the table. You're leaving productivity on the table, right? You are missing an opportunity to have more capacity to do other things. So we want to know how to fit this engine into the things that we do so we can increase our speed to success and wealth. So make sure that you use artificial intelligence responsibly. And anytime I talk about artificial intelligence, I also want to tell you about artificial ignorance. So we want us to understand that artificial intelligence is only going out to get the information that is known and is popular and is most believed online. But you got to be careful that you are conscious that this is a tool, and you got to know how to use that tool. And I was actually just talking to one of my team members, and they were talking about how there's these new studies and conversations about how, I guess I couldn't imagine growing up having artificial intelligence in junior high, high school and stuff that kids are growing up with. Like, someone gives you a homework assignment, it's like, oh my God, like they could literally have this, artificial intelligence do their homework for them, right? It's crazy, right? What is possible. But, from what I'm understanding is there's also other things out there that can actually determine if someone is using artificial intelligence when they write that book report or they do that thing. So it's almost like the robots know the robots, right? So it's amazing that we want to be careful that we don't lose our identity, our authentic identity. I'm reminded of some passage in the scriptures when Paul talked about that every man knows the spirit of man because the spirit of man is within them. He's just talking about the spirit of a human being. So I can look at someone and know that they're mad because I can see the way they're acting, their demeanor, the way they're walking, the way they're carrying themselves. Paul was talking about how every man can see the spirit of man. No one needs to train you about that. But he went on to talk about how if you want to know God, you need the spirit of God, because that's not something you just were born with, right? So this is why the Bible talks about being born again. So when you think about it, that this is something that comes from a different source that allows us to relate to something that is different than us. And it's very different when you think about artificial intelligence, that now people are starting to get hip to, oh, hey, let's use artificial intelligence to determine if artificial intelligence was used. So my whole point in all of this is saying, don't lose yourself, right? Because authenticity is still important. So with the speed, don't lose who you are. So we want to couple the speed with our own identity and authenticity. So it is still our thought and idea that ends up coming to the top because we ask the question and then we begin to take the answers and make them our own, so that the speed to that decision, the speed to that understanding, the speed to that thought, the speed to that deliverable that you created, which is also another speed, the speed at which we can now get a project done, all of these benefits, but in the midst of it, don't lose yourself. Don't let artificial intelligence make you dumb. I'm Michael E. Parker, and thank you again. This is You Are a CEO. Continue to be the CEO of your life, the CEO of your future, and the CEO of all this AI, because this is still about me and you. Until next time, I'll see you soon.